Welcome in, y'all. Week 5 NFL picks. Hard to believe it's already week 5, but we kick it off with a great NFC West battle on Thursday night. It's the 49ers, it's the Rams, and the Rams are favored by a full 5 points, which personally I'm a little surprised. The Niners are coming off a tough loss to the Jaguars at home. That was tough. Purdy's first game back, he looked a little sloppy. The Rams are coming off a good win, so I guess it makes sense to an extent. This Niners team, it just continues to rack up injuries left and right. Like I said, they got Purdy back, but they're still thin in a lot of places. The Rams feel like this is the best team they've had in a while. The Niners historically have had the Rams number under McVay, but the last 3 matchups have gone the Rams' way. And I think this one does as well. Give me the Rams to win this one 23-16. I have them covering the spread as well. This is one that is tough to put a finger on because there's been years in the past when the Niners have struggled a little. The Rams have played very well, yet the Niners find a way to beat the Rams. So curious to see with the Rams now having won 3 in a row if that trend is kind of over and it's the Rams' turn to string together a lot of wins, but we'll see. Just on paper with these teams and honestly the eye test how they've played so far this year, I do expect the Rams to come away with this one on Thursday, but that's an important game because the winner of that game will be in first place in the NFC West after this upcoming week. So very big one there. Then we move on to Sunday morning, another international game. Second in a row for the Vikings. They're staying overseas and they're playing against the Cleveland Browns in this one. Minnesota is favored by 3.5. They're coming off that tough loss to Pittsburgh. They only lost by 3 points, but they were down by a lot more. They kind of got dominated in that one. The Browns are coming off just another tough one against the Lions. So this one is one of those, I think it's going to be lower scoring. Both offenses have struggled a little bit and both defenses have looked fairly strong so far this year. So I think it stays low, but I think the Vikings are able to cover 3.5. I don't know that 3.5 is enough in my opinion. I know the Browns beat the Packers and their defense really shut them down. So maybe the Vikings really just can't get anything going. But I do expect the Vikings to get enough done against the Browns, and the Browns offense is just so lackluster that I don't think they're able to put up much points. So 19-13 is my final score there. Then we head back to the U.S. We have the early Sunday games. We kick it off in the Superdome between the Giants and Saints. 2 teams towards the bottom of the league. The Giants were able to get their first win last week. The Saints were hoping to upset the Bills. They took that one to the fourth quarter before ultimately losing by a couple scores, but they looked a lot better. The Giants looked great under Dart. Dart, didn't look unbelievable, but he played very well for a rookie in his first game against good defense. So I liked what I saw there. The Saints are favored by 1.5 in this one, which scares me a little bit, but I think the Giants have more momentum going. The vibes just seem high in New York right now. The ball seems thrilled. He's trying to save his job. I think the Giants are able to come into New Orleans in this one, and they get a narrow victory against the Saints in what might be the only game the Saints are favored in this entire season. Then we move on to the Raiders visiting the Colts. The Raiders started good. They started 1-0 with a nice road win. And, they got some respect. And it's just slowly tumbled from there, dropping to 1-3. The Colts, I really like them. Their only loss is a close loss to a very good Rams team on the road. So I think the Colts, they're favored by 6.5 here. I think they continue to roll against lesser opponents. I think they win this one by multiple scores. Give me the Colts 34-20, covering that spread and winning the game. I just think that they're a really good team this year, and they're better than people still give them credit for. I think if they'd beaten the Rams, they would have got a lot more respect. But I think they're still flying under the radar a little bit at 3-1. So Colts win there. Then we move on to one of the best early window games. It's Broncos-Eagles. Eagles are favored by a full 5 points, but the Broncos are very good. They're coming off that Monday Night Football win against the Joe Burrow-less Bengals. They looked very good in that one. The Broncos have looked pretty good the last couple weeks. And the Eagles, though, 4-0, defending champs, haven't lost the game in quite some time. So they keep continuing to find ways to win games. And I think that's what they do here as well. I'm not going to pick against the Eagles in this one. I think they win, but I think it's close. I think it comes down to the end. I think the Broncos cover 5, but the Eagles find a way to win. But this should be a really fun game, especially with that Broncos defense. I'm curious to see how this one goes. And the Eagles look to remain unbeaten. So 5-0 there for Philly. And then we move on to, in what is kind of a lackluster game between the Dolphins and the Panthers, both teams with just the 1 win. Panthers are actually favored by 1.5 at home against Miami. I think this one really could go either way, which obviously the spread indicates. But the Panthers are a team that I noticed this last year with Bryce Young too. They seem to play a bit better at home. So I'm going to go ahead and actually take the Panthers to win and cover in this one against the Dolphins, a Dolphins team that has been playing a lot better. They did just lose Tyreek Hill for the season, but yeah, they've been playing better. They put up a fight against the Bills. They beat the Jets, but the Panthers, kind of hard to get a read on them. You know, they played a great second half against the Cardinals. They dominated the Falcons, and then they went and just got it absolutely handed to them against the Patriots. So curious to see how they rebound, especially at home, and I think they're able to get it done with a win there. Then we move on to another game in the early window with 2 teams that have losing records. It's the Cowboys and the Jets. Cowboys are favored by 3 points on the road. And, you know, I was looking at the Cowboys' 2 home games. They put up 40 points and 40 points. Both games going to overtime, high scoring shootouts. On the road, Cowboys have put up 20 and 14 points. So is this maybe a home road thing? They really like that dome, AT&T Stadium. I don't know. But I think the Jets offense has done very well. And if they can just stop shooting themselves in the foot with stupid turnovers, sloppy penalties, and mistakes, which is easier said than done. But I think this offense is very good for the Jets. The defense has shown some question marks. It should be better. But I think the Jets are able to win this one at home. Give me the Jets in an upset win against the Cowboys, 30-26 in this one. But that should be a fun one. I think Cowboys are one of those teams that a lot of their games are going to be fun this year just because of how good their offense is and how bad their defense is. So should be a fun one there in New Jersey. And then our last early game, it is the Texans and the Ravens. Lamar Jackson sounds like he could miss 2 to 3 weeks from what I'm hearing, and the assumption is he is out for this game. Houston is now favored by 1.5. They were favored by upwards of 6.5 points. So major line shift there. And I completely agree with the shift. The Ravens have looked very, very rough, especially defensively, and now they lose their best offensive player. It's going to be a tough one this week, and I do have the Texans going in there and winning that one. I don't feel great about it either because the Texans, 1-3, even though they've played close games. I don't think the Texans are able to run away with it. Ravens still have a good roster despite some injuries, actually a lot of injuries. But I do expect the Texans to go on the road and get a win in this one. But we'll see. I think it should be a tight game. This game is still crucial for both teams. Being 1-3, you fall to 1-4, and that's a very large hole to climb out of if you're wanting to make the playoffs. So crucial game, and I think the Texans sneak away with that one against the backup, which is Cooper Rush. But now moving on to our next game, we have Tampa visiting Seattle. This is a fun one. 2 3-1 teams. 2 teams trying to really make a statement here. Either of these teams going to 4-1 would be a big deal for them this year, and it's going to be a great game in Seattle. I heard the time for this one could be moved due to a Mariners playoff game that Sunday, so this one could be a little later than 4:05 Eastern, but shouldn't affect the game too much. I think this is going to be a great tight game. Seattle is favored by a full 3.5 points, which is a little surprising to me that it's that high, but Seattle has looked very, very good, especially defensively. Tampa Bay coming off a loss, and they have a plethora of injuries there in Tampa they're trying to recover from, so, I get it. But at the same time, as far as my pick goes, I think this game is going to come down to the wire. I think it's going to come down to the very end. And in the clutch, I think I just trust Mayfield and the Bucs a tad bit more. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay to win this one 20-17, getting the road upset victory in Seattle against Seahawks. But that's a coin flip game, and it should be a fun one. And then we move on to the Titans and the Cardinals. The Cardinals actually losing to Seattle last week. They just have been a little lackluster this year, especially offensively, not seeing what I want to be seeing from them. The Titans, it's just been a disaster. It's gotten worse every week, so I'm not sure how that one's going to go for them. But Arizona's favored by a full 9 points here, and I don't expect a massive blowout. So 9 points does seem like a lot, but at the same time, I think the Cardinals do cover that. I think it's a lower scoring game. The Cardinals kind of just slowly claw their way to a 10-point win, winning this one 23-13. I just think the Titans are playing very, very bad football right now. The Cardinals aren't playing amazing, but they're definitely a better team. But the Titans defense should keep this thing, without blowout territory. So we'll see, but definitely a crucial game for the Cardinals. You can't be losing a game like this. That would definitely be devastating to their playoff hopes, especially coming off 2 losses in a row already. But then moving on to a 4:25 Eastern game on Fox. It's the Lions and the Bengals, one that looked very fun before the season, before the Joe Burrow injury, but that is out the window now. We have a 10-point favorite for the Lions on the road. And at first glance, I was thinking Cincinnati to cover. I was thinking, they find a way to keep it close. But, man, the Lions have just been incredibly dominant since week 1. And especially against a bad defense like the Bengals, I think they're going to be able to put up a lot of points. And I'm not entirely sure how the Bengals, with the way they've been playing since Burrow went down, how they're going to be able to stay in this game. So, with that being said, I do like the Lions to win this one by a couple touchdowns here, 34-20, a bit on the higher scoring side. Lions should have no issue going into Cincinnati unless the Bengals, really change things up and figure out how to play, but they have not shown it since Burrow went down. And even their 2 wins were not that great looking even when he was in. So rough season in Cincinnati, it seems. But our other 4:25 Eastern game is a very good game. This is actually now the new America's Game of the Week. They switched this over after the Burrow injury. Washington visiting Los Angeles should be a very fun one. I believe Jaden Daniels is back in this one, which makes it very tough for me. I sat here for a while going back and forth on this one. I couldn't quite make up my mind. I have very good reasons for both coming off a loss. Obviously, the Chargers actually had Herbert in their loss, but the Chargers are coming back home, and really that's the kicker for me. They're playing at home. They're coming off a loss in Harbaugh. I trust him. I think they get the win, but I'm going to take Washington to cover. These are 2 very, very good teams, 2 teams that will certainly find themselves in the postseason. And it should be a very fun game on Sunday afternoon to watch. And, this game's pretty important, especially for Washington. You lost the game that you maybe wouldn't have if Jaden Daniels was playing. You lose this, you fall to 2-3. So we'll see if they can avoid doing that. But then our Sunday night game, you have the Bills at home favored by 8 points. And, the Bills have shown a little weakness the last couple weeks, letting 2 bad teams stay in close games against them in Buffalo. And I think the Patriots are a step up in competition from the last 2 weeks. I like the way the Patriots played last week, and the Patriots are a few lost fumbles away from being 3-1. So this could be a sneaky good Sunday night matchup. I don't think the Patriots are quite at that level to go win on the road in Buffalo, so I will take the Bills to win, but I like the Patriots to keep this thing close. I do not think the Bills run away with it. I think it should be a fun Sunday night game. I think the only way the Bills run away with it is if they really jump on them early, which the Bills can do, and they've shown the ability to do that. But if they don't jump right all over them early, I think the Patriots hang throughout the entirety of this one. And then we turn our attention, though, to Monday Night Football. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chiefs coming off a massive home win against the Ravens. They desperately needed that. And the Jaguars coming off a very quiet statement win on the road against the San Francisco 49ers. So Jaguars actually coming into this game with the better record of the two teams. And the Chiefs are favored by 3.5 here. And this is one, I don't know that I went back and forth on the winner, but maybe how close it is. I do have the Chiefs winning and narrowly covering this one by just a point there. The way the Chiefs played last week gave me confidence in them, and the Jaguars, I'm still waiting to see it on the offensive side of the ball a little bit. I really do like what they've done defensively in Jacksonville. It looks like a very elite unit. But the Lawrence has been a little lackluster so far. I know they put up a few more last week, but I want to see a bit more there. And the Chiefs really impressed me last week. And it's one thing, overreacting, to a team that's not used to doing that. But the Chiefs, I think the overreaction is fair to jump back on them because we know what they can do. And I think they go on the road, they win a game like this. But I think it's close in Chiefs fashion. I do think this game stays close throughout. It should be a fun one, and this is a Monday night selection that has looked better as the season has gone on. So excited for that one and excited for another great week of football. Let me know, of course, where you disagree and what your personal picks are. I'd love to see what you got. And looking forward to this weekend.